Morning everybody, and how are you? My name's Iris Smith and I'm the owner of a small business called The Flower Patch. I just want to say again thank you to all the new subscribers. It's absolutely wonderful that you're all subscribing to my channel. It's very heartwarming and very touching, and also I hope you're going to enjoy the videos. And I had a few messages last night with the bauble one that I did. People, I gave you a little challenge again. I wasn't going to crack the whip, if you're too busy, that's not really understandable. And I've had, again, people comment how wonderful it is, and some of them are going to give it a go. So great stuff. I hope you enjoy, and again, by having different styles and textures of baubles, in clusters, this will help you with your placement. So you can then keep an eye out on where you're placing things, so not the same bauble is next to each other, and also that they're not in the same position around the wreath. And I hope you have fun. And also, I've had lovely messages again off of Sandra, Jenny. Oh, Jenny and the conifer. Oh my good gracious me. You're addicted with them and you love them, the ones I have that we've got here today. And I tell you, I've ordered some more. I think I've got another 20 bunches coming. I just can't get enough of them. Even though they can be all year round foliage, they look exceptional in Christmas arrangements. And again, from lovely messages from Julie Hodgkins and Julie Johnson again, my regular subscribers. I hope you have a great day. And I've had a request. A lady has requested if I do the graveside spikes, what you put flowers in for Christmas for a member of a loved one who's unfortunately no longer with us. I do them. I have done them when I used to work in fresh flowers, and I've done quite a few in also artificial. I've got I've got one pot. I haven't got one what says Dad on it, but I've got one with husband, so I thought I'll use that, and we'll show you how to do that. If any of you beautiful people out there have somebody who's no longer around and you just want to put a few flowers along the graveside, then this will give you an idea. Instead of actually putting a wreath, or fresh bouquet, which won't last in the frost and the bad weather perhaps to come. So I'm just going to show you. Right, I've put it in a pot because this one stays in loving memory of a dear husband. They're just plastic. They call them a plastic vase, graveside vase, with the spike on the end to obviously put in the ground. I'm going to use it in my pot. I put a bit of Oasis at the bottom, a cylinder one, because I can't sand it on anything. So to hold it in place by putting a bit of Oasis in the bottom and just placing it in like that. So then that holds it while I'm working away at it. And these are from, I'll say from to the bottom here of where your flowers will sit. These are 9.5 inches, and with the spike on them, they come in at 13 inches. Oh, that's not a very nice number. So I've just pushed it into my Oasis and it's ready to start. So this is what we're going to do. Please don't think that it's not, oh gosh, doing all these wonderful Christmas things and then now a funeral. No. Funerals are beautiful. Honestly, guys, they are fabulous. Obviously it's not something where you can be joyous about, but they are beautiful within the spirit. And you can make things absolutely lovely. For a man or a gentleman, I tend to not go extravagantly big, because not all men like flowers, or they may like them but they're not into them as much as us ladies are. So I tend to try and keep it basic, but very pretty at the same time. And it is also for a Christmas one, not you know, an all year round where you go each week. This one will be, you know, just to put some flowers down for a Christmas, for the Christmas time, to stay to the loved ones who are no longer around, that we're still thinking about you. So that's what we're going to do today. It shouldn't take really too long. Oh, my coffee. Oh guys, and it's freezing again today. Frost on my roof yet again. So we're going to do a bow. I've only got 3 bows out today, and again they're Christmassy. And like I say, usually ladies, pretty ribbons, they love that stuff. Don't get me wrong, some gentlemen do as well, and good on you. But on this occasion, I'm using basically just 3 ribbons. One where it's checked with, you know, greens, reds, yellows in, and a bit of gold around the edging. If I just take it off of the ribbon. So that is what the one we're going to use today, which is subtle, but a subtle Christmas ribbon, you know, especially for the side of a graveside. Then as well, because it's a, you know, it's not just because it's a gentleman, but for the gentleman I've got velvet green ribbon, and I'm using that in, it's just plain, you know, again, because I don't want to make it too extravagant with you know, pictures of flowers on and things like that. I want it just for a gentleman to be a plain, beautiful velvet ribbon. This is gorgeous. And I've also got the same in the red, velvet as well. So I've got one pattern. I have incorporated one patterned ribbon, but it's a subtle one. And then also 2 bold ones in velvet. And these are 2 inches wide, these 2 here. And this is 6.63 millimeters, which is, I'll tell you guys, 2.5 inches wide. So they're the ones that we're going to use. And once I've done the bow, I will move my chair out of the way and I will stand up and then alter the camera, guys. So let's first of all get our ribbon. And again, with it only being a small pot, if I take it back out, you don't want a great big ribbon, bow, because you know, you want, it's not something where we put on a wreath and we do it really, you know, we can do it really big and fancy. Because these are only small, we just want, once our oasis is in, to have the ribbon just sitting around at the front. So for that reason, and taking into consideration the size of the pot, we're going to do just a small ribbon with a small tail end. The tail end that I'm doing is 8 inches. And then I bring that to the front. I've already dovetailed the end. And then once it's in my bow maker, I twist. And again, because I don't want a really big ribbon, I'm only going to 3.5 inches, which is plenty, guys, for a small thin container. And again, twist once it comes through the other side. And again, 3.5 inches that I'm measuring on my bow maker. And then once you're through the opposite side, again, twist. So then you don't have to measure this one again. You can just follow the size of this one, because that's already measured to the 3.5 inches. So just sit it on top. And just make sure it's level at the end, and then once it's down, twist. And then do the same on this side. You can have as many loops as you like. It's, you know, each to their own. And just measure that one up. And if you're not sure by just even doing it by eye view, put your fingers, I do it this side, through the loops and measure. And if they meet together at the top, you know it is the same as the one on the bottom. So then I'm going to cut a small tail end on that side also. So that is our first ribbon. So while this is here, I will dovetail. Oops, nearly went wrong. So I know now that I've got a dovetail there. You can move your ribbon in your bow maker before, you know, and position it into place before you carry on and put your next one. So you've got it like that in a letter X. So now I don't want to put red on red because you won't see this one. So to set the red velvet one on, I'm putting a deep green, the velvet green. And again, I'm putting this at the same length as that tail end. You can cut them once you've done it if it's, you know, if you think it's too long, but I always seem to put a little bit extra just to be on the safe side, to make sure, you know, just so it's not too short either. So then twist, so then the velvet becomes underneath, and then again 3.5 inches is plenty again for a small little container. Press that down and twist. Oh, it feels lovely on your hands, this, beautiful. And again, do the same. And because it's got nice little, like a glossy edging on it, even though it is in green, that also helps and gives towards a bit of a Christmas theme on your ribbon. Again, in a subtle way. Because, you know, some people, you know, their parents or their loved one who's no longer around, when they was around with them, they may have not really been into anything like pretty. Especially, I mean, my husband, he's not a pretty person. He's not into anything like that. So let's dovetail this one as well. The green is absolutely stunning. It's like an emerald green. It's beautiful, and it's also, it's double layered, because on the other side it's got green silk. It's beautiful. So that, I just put a pin in it so it doesn't unravel. So now we'll use our red one. And I'm going to go on the same side, because if I just manipulate my bow into position, there we go. Because I've got red there and I've got green there, I don't want red again there. So I'm going to go on top of the green. But you can, once positioned, place the green in the centre and have 2 reds either side. So again, twist, so the velvet is upside down. Then measure again to 3.5 inches. There, yeah, twist. And that's all we're doing. Let me just straighten that wire out there. And do the same again on the opposite side. It's down, so twist. And then we need just 2 more loops. Some people like to twist it before they position it to the bottom. I tend to do that, but you know, sometimes you can, well, you can also just place it at the bottom and then twist it like that. And again, the last loop. And that's what we have. And then just place my pin. If you haven't got pins and you've got elastic bands instead, you can put your elastic band around the ribbon to hold them. So let me just dovetail this one as well. And because I've got green and red, I'm using a green tie wrap to blend in. So take it off of your bow maker, get your tie wrap, hold it with your forefinger there, and then just bring it around to the back, to the first ribbon that you've started to make. Thread the tie wrap, and before I pull it tight, because I want this to stick in the oasis, I am inserting a piece of floral wire through the tie wrap as well. Whoopsie-daisy. Just make sure it doesn't catch on any of the ribbon. So just pull it and then pull your tie wrap. And then cut the ends of your tie wrap off. Get your 2 pieces of floral wire that you've just put in, just there. And because you've got 2 little pieces there, twist those together. So then that also holds your floral wire into your tie wrap. And then you can start now fluffing up your bow. I had another red one, let's have a look. Oh, it's here. Couldn't even see it, guys. So I've made it so I've got red, green, red. So let's hold that, do the bottom again. I always start at the bottom to fluff them up. And then, gosh, this one's stuck firmly together. And then the other one. And then manoeuvre my green bow in between the 2 checked ribbons or loops, and then that's where I'm placing the green one, in between the checked ribbon. So then this will give it a balanced effect and look. Oh, it's just beautiful. And then our red one, and that will go then in between the green ribbon. And then just stroke your ribbon just to give it a bit of a curve onto it. And just do this one from this side. Just curl it under. And I think now they are too long, so I'm going to cut these shorter. And on this occasion I don't mind if any of the tail ends are leaning towards the top. It adds lovely movement. Usually I have my tail ends at the bottom, but when it comes to funeral ones I don't mind having the tail ends placed around the top and the bottom to give it a bit more bouncy. Let's see if there's any more that are too long. Maybe that one slightly on this end. And that one. And just manipulate it again how you'd like it. And there is your little 3.5 inch loops for a bow. And once we have the oasis in, I'm going to put it in at the front. Oops, sorry. Where's the name? So that will sit there, and that will give it a Christmas look, but in a subtle, calm way. I like, when it comes to things like funeral bows, especially for Christmas, I like it to look calm, you know, and not too busy. You know, because it's not it's something that you're celebrating to have all pictures and things like that on. You know, that, no disrespect, guys, to anybody. You know, I just take into consideration the calmness, you know. It's just the way I think. But saying that, I've never seen anybody put bows on at a, you know, graveside where they are over the top. Never. It's always usually subtle colours. Well, I wouldn't say they were subtle colours because they are quite deep, but subtle in texture. Right, let me just get my coffee. My son has just bought me this thing. The one who usually, the autistic one, Brandon, who usually puts a tablespoon in, and he's done it all right today. So, lucky me. Because usually I'm choking on it. He does try. So, and before again I move the camera, we'll go through what we're using. So, I got out some fern. I've been chopping away at these and cut them down because you don't want something like that. Perhaps to this height. You can either do front facing, because obviously the sign and the bow will be here, so you can have it all front facing, or you can do it all the way around in a 360 degrees arrangement. I'm going to do today a front facing one, because once it's in the ground like that, it's usually, people look at the name, you know, what it says on it, the memorial words, they look at that, they don't look behind it. So it's going to be a front facing one. So I've got some fern that I've chopped again off of a fresh stem, and I've brought that out. I've also got this is a stem that I've been chopping away at of my rubber leaf fern as well, to give it a slightly smaller leaf, but in a subtle flowing way. And I like things like this also in funerals, because it gives again the movement, the flow of like up in the sky, angel wings, you know, in the heavens, and it's soft and comforting. That's another reason I tend to put those in. Now I have got, and I've cut these are my oddments, sorry, some red willow. Now I've got those out. I'm not saying that I'm going to put them in, I have done before, but I thought just to have a different bit of colour, and again these are airy, so that's the reason I got these out also. But I could have got the green ones out, or I could have got the white, but I don't want white because then it becomes, again, it starts to look too Christmassy, to the point where it's a celebration look, and we're not aiming for that, guys, at all. Like I say, we need to keep it subtle, comforting, you know, to the eye, and also on the once it's placed on the graveside. You know, it's not a party, so we don't, you know, you have to take all these feelings and things into consideration. So with, again, being Christmassy, I have got my conifer, because this is, you know, a woody feel as well, and it's also subtle and thin. It's not very big. Now I have got one, I'm not saying I'm putting this in, but an amaranthus leaf, just to give it a different texture. I don't know if you can see, perhaps just sitting at the side, or maybe above the bow, because if we had it above the bow, I mean, it's a beautiful green, it doesn't look too much, and it looks beautiful how it's set there. So I've got one out. I have got these as well. Again, the white, I have been looking at some others, and I'm debating whether to get the other ones out. I'm not sure, but I've just left these out for now, which I may want to incorporate the odd one around the bottom, and maybe one or two, or whichever, it doesn't matter, standing upright. We'll see as we go along. And just to add a bit of subtle Christmassy touch as well, I've got out the Silver Dollar eucalyptus. It's a wider leaf, airy, as again, flow, movement, you know, like floaty feeling, like you're floating up into the heavens. And I've got that as well. And it's not, again, looks lovely, eucalyptus in funerals as well, and Christmas themes. So that is a, you know, multi-purpose foliage where it looks beautiful in absolutely anything, and it goes with anything. So I've got that. Now, to add a little bit of a Christmassy theme as well, I've got my grasses out with a bit of fern, with some little pods, seed heads, or little buds at the top. Now, these for movement, again, thinking about the buds, but not in a bright colour, you know, like big red berries. You know, I've got red berries out, but I've only got a few. I don't want to overdo it. Again, using this for the subtleness, and also a little Christmassy theme with the buds. Now, I did get this out, and I don't think I'm going to use it. This spider plant, I have used it as well in funerals, where I've placed them either upright as a focal point and then just sticking out. But again, I don't think it looks right. So I am doubting. So again, like I say, guys, if in doubt, leave it out. Or if you've placed it already in and you're still in doubt, take it out. So I don't think I'm going to be using that. Now I have got only one, and this is big. It is a red poinsettia, and it's also in velvet, like the ribbon, for this soft and comforting feel. And I've took that into consideration again. So I don't want a lot because they are big. I just want one for the subtleness and the softness, and also just to represent the Christmas time. I've got out some white dahlias. These are my oddments, so I may have to, you know, elongate the stem, but they add beautiful softness and pureness to any flower, alongside the poinsettia, just to give some white. We don't want too much white or overloading it, you know. Even though I see white as a calm colour, which it is, it's neutral and it blends in with anything. Again, I'm trying to take into consideration the softness. So, what is it people like for their loved ones? Roses. Again, roses are all year round. I'm not using the Christmas roses because, again, they've got glitter on and things like that. I'm, you know, staying with the softness. So I've just got 5 out that we're going to incorporate those as well into our arrangement. And again, I may not even put these in. Who knows? But I've got some oddments of my berries, even though I've got a lot of these. I just thought I'd take the oddments out and incorporate these as well. Again, just to state that it's a Christmas arrangement. Now I've got some heather. Heather is a beautiful, soft looking plant, even in real life and even in foliage. It is soft, it is airy, and it just gives that little bit of a subtle, calm but pretty, a moving effect in funeral flowers. It is fabulous. I've used it a lot in real flowers, and I thought we've got to add in some pine cones. Now these are the woody effect, the ground effect, as I used to call them, for funerals. It gives that ground, that earthy feeling. Again, no disrespect for the loved ones who are no longer around, who are placed in the earth. It represents that on a graveside. The earthy, woody, natural feeling. So I also thought I'll get 3 cinnamon sticks out as well, to do, again, the earthy look to add, and also just subtle for the Christmas theme. Again, I'm not going all glittery or anything like that. I'm not sure, but I have got my calla lilies. I mean, and a lot of people, believe it or not, represent lilies with death. I don't. I really don't. Lilies are a beautiful thing. Calla lilies or the tiger lilies or any of the bigger lilies, a lot of people tend to think it's a flower for passing, but it's not, guys. It really not. So I'm going to add, instead of the bigger lilies, I could have had the big white ones, but I don't want it too compact. I want it airy, again, moving, softness and subtle. So I've got these lilies out instead, my small calla lilies. So I will use the odd one again for those for my movement. So that, guys, is what we are going to do today for a dear, dear lady who has asked me, if I've ever made them. So I've replied to her last night and said I will. I'm not going to mention the lady's name because it is a personal thing. I do take that into consideration as well. It's personal and private. So even though she's a regular subscriber, a regular lady who comments, on a regular basis, I take into, consideration privacy, and confidentiality on that side. So I won't mention the lady's name, but the lady will know who I mean. But she requested me if I could show her how to do one, because she'd like to do one, for her loved one. So I'm going to get a block of Oasis. Now, and not Oasis, sorry. Not the block, get it right, the cylinder. Because these cylinders will fit perfect, absolutely perfect. You just have to push it down. So even if your stems go underneath, through it to the bottom, you won't see it. But that is just holding them in. So I've got 2 out in case I want to really push it in for more support. So let's first of all do that. Oh, let me get my spatula, because I may have to shape it once I press it. And just put a lot of strength into it, guys, because it is going on a graveside. You don't want it loose. You don't want it popping out. You want it to be secure and in place. Again, just keep pushing it as far as you can get it. Now that is tight, so we don't need the other one. I'm not going to cover this. I could cover it with moss. In fact, yes, let's cover it with moss. It's going alongside the graveside. So let's cover it and give it that also that earthy feeling along on the arrangement. I'm just getting some moss pins. I've got my heater on, guys. I'm sorry, but it is freezing today. And if I switched it off, I'd start to dither. So I'm going to just get some moss, place it on top. I'm making sure it goes over and it touches the black lip on top of the vase. Let's put that there. Oh, I love the smell of moss. Again, it's that earthy smell. It's wonderful. And with my moss, I tend to cover the top. Some people just use it sparingly. That's okay, you know. But my preference is, you know, I like to see the whole of it covered, whether you'll see it or not. It's peace of mind for myself, and also, you know, I know it's done, because you can again get some customers who will pick up on that and they may not like it. So I don't take the chance. And I'm just making sure by tapping it, you'll see if they're bouncing up and not, you know, not secure. So if you see some like that bit there and you think that will move, place a moss pin in. Like this bit here, it's moving, so I'm going to put one there. I'm going around the edges, you know, in some areas like here, you can lift it up and see, just there. So I'm going with the moss pin and I'm going in at an angle and pushing it in there to hold in the side. So then after that, to give it a neat look and finish, I trim the little bits that are hanging over the side. I don't want to see those, you know, it needs to be professional, it needs to be neat, you know, you don't want anything horrible, and it doesn't matter, even if it's just funerals, any scraggly bits hanging over, I don't like it. My husband reckons I'd be a really awkward tutor. But it's not me being awkward, guys. It's me taking into consideration, you know, and doing a professional job. I'm not saying that if you have it sparingly, it's not professional. That's not what I'm saying. I wouldn't do that. But my liking is cover it. Because not just that it looks professional and neat and tidy. Again, you have some funny customers. Some that check your work no matter what. So let me just reposition that, because I've placed it back in the same hole and it's wobbling. There we go. So that is now our moss. So we have our bow. Let me just see if I've got you on the camera where you can see. I may not go on the camera myself. You may not see my head. If I lift it so you can see the top of the vase, not my white vase. There we go. So now we've got our ribbon. I'm just going to cut off a little bit of that where I've twisted it. And what we're going to do, and you still want to see the sign, you know, the wording. So hence the reason I don't have the tail ends hanging. I keep them all around the similar length to the bow, to the loops, because people want to see the wording. So I stick it around here. So that's what we're going to do, but I'm going to put some corsage tape around my ribbon, not my ribbon, sorry, my wire, and also a little bit of a pick to give it that strength, because the floral wire is very thin and it can move in Oasis quite easily. So I want it to stay in place and to help it, especially with it being on the graveside, in open, you know, weather and winds and rain. So I want to help it along by giving it a bit of strength so it won't come out. Again, things like that. Think about this, you know, the strength of your floral wire. You could put in a bit thicker floral wire than what I have. Then you wouldn't need to put in a pick. So again, let's just place it in the center where the word says in. I want to line it up with that. So now you can still see the words, the lovely words for the loved one on front of the container. So we need to start putting in some of our foliage. Let's just get them. Again, I may not use the red willow, you know, this may just be enough. So we'll see as we go along. So again, because I'm doing a front facing one, let's just cut some of these off. I'm just checking because they look a bit bare, these. If they're missing anything. No? Oh, there's one there. So let's take off of them. The small oddments I'm going to take off. If I can find one. One petal or one leaf and place it on the prong that has got nothing on to fill it up a little bit more. So we'll use that one to replace things with. Look on here. See, now this one also has got it where there's some leaves have come off. Oh my goodness, these are glued on. So I'm going to replace some on here as well. Let's have a look, there was one there. Just checking the others. No, they're okay. Always check your foliage, everybody, because, you know, if there's any prongs or leaves missing, again, not just with the funeral flowers, but you don't want missing leaves on arrangements. You want to fulfill that beautiful, you know, time and have a fulfilled. Oh, this isn't just sitting right. Let's just place it in here first. I'm going to push it all the way. There we go. Again, I'm just going to start cutting the odd bits, so let's take that tag off. I'm going to cut off, and whatever I don't use, that's okay with me. I can, you know, I can put either picks on them and place them back. Like this one was right at the bottom and the stem wasn't very long, so I'm going to dip a pick in the glue, put it inside, because again, if you've got any loose leaves, glue them on, because with them being again at the graveside, you don't want them coming off in the strong winds and then you think, you know, you go and visit one day and then things have come off because they're not glued in. Always take into the outdoor weathers, you know, the space that they're going to be sitting in open space, because that's where you tend to get the strongest winds and things like that. So I've cut those. Let's cut some of our conifer. Again, I'm just preparing, that's all I'm doing. So there we are. So I want, again, this is a front facing one, and your bow, when you're walking away, it'll be lifted up like that by your floral. So again, I'm not doing it big. It doesn't need to be, you know, a celebratory item. It, you know, it needs to be a subtle but soft feeling. So we're going to put one of our fern there. And I'm using for the fern the hard textured fern. I'm not using the soft. This one is a plastic base one, so this will take all weathers. You know, again, I take that into consideration. And if you haven't got anything hard or anything and it's soft silk like this, I tend to put a protector over it and spray it. You know, like I say, from the UV, from the sun, or from all weathers. And you can buy the professional one that you spray on and it protects it. But another one that I use is WD-40. That is so strong. It holds the colour, it doesn't fade, and it protects it from any rain. And as soon as the rain hits it, it slides off. It doesn't soak in. So I use WD-40, and once I've finished my arrangement, I spray it. And that is how I do it. And again, these conifers, these are also like, well, Jenny will know, they're a beautiful texture, but they are coated with a soft texture. And again, I will coat them to be on the safe side, because I don't know if they will soak in water or not. So if they do, I won't take the chance. If they don't, well, or do, sorry, I'm not going to take that chance. I'll spray them. So, you know, they hold the water and they don't soak and then start going all brown from the rain, you know, and mouldy. As you know, when things go outside, they go mouldy. I'm trying to prevent that also. And so with all the flowers that are silk, they will be sprayed to keep the colour and protect them off the rain. So I've left this one as well large in my fern, because I also want that to stick up at the back. Again, floaty but beautiful feeling, and just manipulate your leaves if you like. I'm not manipulating the top stem because I want that to be upright. Just bring that one down slightly, like that as well. And as you can see, I'm going to be working a front facing in a triangular position. The arrangement is going to be, again, triangular but coming forward. So for the triangular movement, I'm basically building my boundary, and I'm going to place the fern around here. So as you can see now, there is your triangle. And it's already, but just with the ribbon and the fern, starting to give it that little Christmassy feeling. So I will add in also, let's have a look. You see, I do take into consideration the placement especially. See, they would look probably more better at the front because they're round. I want something with a point to sit around here for the, you know, basically for our boundary. So we're going to put in some conifers. Again, I'm not going to go higher than that. And I'm bringing it down so it's basically going like that. In between, it's not longer than that. It doesn't stick far further out than the big fern, and it doesn't stick higher up. We're going to place it so the movement of it comes down. So again, like a step, and that's how you tend to place it when it comes to doing a triangular front facing position or arrangement, should I say. And again, I'll do the same on this side. I don't want to go further out, so that looks like it's virtually meeting, so we'll bring that one in a little bit more. So as you can see, now I do want some, you see, I don't think I'm going to use these, I don't know. Oh, I could, just the odd, probably 3, one either side and then one at the back, remembering to fill in the back as well. I want to get in the base and everything done. I don't want it sticking out here because it's a wide leaf. I could put one either side here. So if I just grab another one, and again it gives it a little bit of a frosty look. Do I? And then also, yeah. So we're going to place 2 of these in. Again, I don't want them on a long stem because we still want to keep in mind the word, the lovely words at the bottom. So it's going to sit like that. We'll do the same on the opposite side. I'll just turn it around. There you have it. Don't that look pretty already? Don't it look comforting to the eye? You know, it's subtle. You know, again, the bow's making it subtle as well. And the placement of your flowers, again, perfect. You know, wonderful feeling. And I'm going to bring behind these a conifer. Going to bring that Christmassy touch around the bottom as well. So I'm just going to move the bow. We will straighten the bow up, guys, nearer, as we, you know, perhaps nearer the end. But again, I don't want this conifer to go further out than there. And we'll do exactly the same on this side. Just make sure it's a similar level down, not too far. There we go. So I don't want no more conifer. I don't want to overload it with conifer. We do have, you know, again, our eucalyptus, where I could add a little bit to fill in here. So let's get a little one there. Just, you know, to give it a bit of different texture, and also helps with the Christmassy look. So I'm going to put it here, but this is more like just a slight little bit. Again, I'm not going over the top with it. Just put that in from the back, make sure that you can see. There we go, there. Just have a look. Just slightly bend. And that is making it look like it's filling up lovely. So you could have some here. I don't think I'm going to place it there. I think that looks fine without it. So again, I'm not overloading. I'm trying to keep, as I say guys, to the nice subtle movement and feel, but also a lovely arrangement at the same time. So we'll place those on the floor as well. I don't need no more fern. Let's have a look if I place the odd one. These lovely ferns in as well. Because I may need to place some in the centre to incorporate within the flowers that will be going in. So first, so we've got that one there behind here. Again, I don't want this to go further out than this. This is my widest point, and I want to stay within that. I think that is irritating me. Take that off. So there we have it. I'll hold on to these few because I will want to maybe put some of those in. I'm just going to check with the willow. Now that also adds a nice Christmassy, small Christmassy texture. So we're going to put just a few of these in again, not a lot. Let me place. Instead of just having it around the bottom, I'm going to place just a couple at the top as well. To also again make it flow. But not go too high. Just to add that little bit of Christmassy feel. Got a smaller one here. So I'm going to bring these here again, but not going further out than what this is. So that's just sitting behind it, just to give a colour in the background. Now that one's sticking out too far, so let me pull it out and shorten the stem. Just have a look. There. So do I need... Yes, we'll bring 2 small pieces. I'll just show you. Again, like the conifer, drooping at the side of the wording. So we're going to bring just 2 there, then we've got all the deep red in. So just lift it up. What's that behind the conifer? Again, so it's coming down also to the front. So that's what you have. So I don't need any more of those. I don't need those. I don't think I'm going to put this in, guys. Even though it looks quite Christmassy. Oh, I don't know. I'll hang on. I have our poinsettia. I should have got my turntable out. What do I put the poinsettia off to one side? I think it would be better there. Let's just look at our roses. In fact, I don't know whether to put the poinsettia in because it's taken a lot of the room. I could have put it there, but then it's hiding the wording. And up here it's quite, looks a bit too odd if I show you. It looks a bit too big and a bit too odd because then your eye is drawn away from this beautiful bow and it's sticking, you know, that is sticking in your face. If it was a smaller one, maybe, but I'm going to leave that. The roses also give off love, you know, so as well. So let's place our roses in and then we can work around our roses. Got an extra bit of leaf on. So again, the first rose, I'll show you how we're going to place them there. I mean, that one's the longest one. I did cut one really long, so that's there. The second one, and this I'll show you how I'm placing them. I'm just popping them there so you can see. So as you can see with the placement of the roses, triangle. There's your main point and you're coming down to the sides. And then when you get your dahlias, you pop a dahlia in slightly in between but lower than the top one. You don't want it higher. In fact, I'm going to do it where I don't want, I'm just placing them, guys. I'm not putting as many dahlias in as I've got roses. Again, I'm just going to lift that bow up a bit so I can push that in. These are going to come in slightly inwards towards the bow, so it's like a zigzag. I know that looks low, but it will it will sit right. And then I'm going to place one right under the bottom, or I could just leave the 3, which look really pretty. So yeah, we'll just leave the 3. Because we do have our berries, and I perhaps want to put a couple of berries on front where these white ones are. One there, and I may have just the odd one sticking in there as well. So first of all, let's get now in our roses, because that is the position of the roses that where they're going to be placed. So just move our bow, go in the centre there. These are wonderful little memorial pots, just to show, you know, your loved one, that you're thinking about them at Christmas. I think they're great. Put that one a little bit shorter. I'll just turn it around, guys, so I can see. I find funeral flowers, I understand it's a very sad time for people. I find them so relaxing. My mind goes everywhere when I do funeral flowers. It's such a calming time when you do things like this. Peaceful. It's wonderful. Just make sure they're very similar position. So there you have your roses. So now with our dahlias, clean the stem, even though there's nothing on them, I just like them clean. Just moving my bow, going behind it, but I'm positioning this not at the same height as the rose, but just slightly, not at the same height as the top rose. Oops, I've just, it's just within. That may need a bigger pick on it, so, oh gosh, I can't get that one off. Oh my goodness. Oh, so let's put a longer pick on this one. Glue it back in. Again, you don't want it popping out. I can see it on the other side. Push it through there, like that. Take that off, like that. And now I've glued it through there, I'm going Where's that leaf gone? I'm going to take that leaf off because it looks like it's torn slightly. If I can get this in. Oh, I've left the thingy in. I've left a bit of the stem in. That's not it. Can't make my mind up if that's it or not. Let's just widen it and see. I'm trying to take the glue off what was on there when I, you know, brought them. Take that glue back off there. Let's try again. For some reason I feel something's inside stuck in it. Is it? I don't trust that. Force. Bit of force. Just tidy it up without the glue. Dahlias are one of my other favourite flowers. I don't trust that one, guys, so I'm going to use another one. Oh, that's got a longer stem on it. Okay, let me just make sure that this is on an equal height. Don't they look pretty? These smaller, and then the ones here I want to place in there. So it's just red, white going all the way down. And these are, as you maybe notice, I talk about my placement, my spacing. Another thing I mean, I've got different types of things I do, styles for funerals. When I do things in little containers and bars, what I call, say, graveside vases, occasionally, not all the time, I tend to put them next to each other, touching each other. It's just a representative of love being held together. If you understand what I'm saying, you know, they're all touching because you're touched and you love that person, you're hugging them tightly, so everything's like that. That's what my message is, so to speak. Not everybody, but that's the message I like to give. That they're all, you know, touching each other because you're showing them the love. I haven't put it in yet. You know, it's giving them a hug, basically. You know, it's simplify it, it's just hugging them. That's how I look at it. It's not that I'm placing them wrong, you know. I'm not, you know, I sound like I've contradicted myself concerning the placement, but again, funeral flowers and meanings and things like that are completely different. You know, the meaning behind it and the placement behind them. You know, to me, it's basically giving them that hug, even though they're still not around, but you speaking it in flowers instead. I just want to make sure. There we go. It's caught on a leaf. If that makes sense, guys. That's just me. That's how I, you know, give off. How can you show somebody who's no longer around that you want to hug them? Show it in the flowers. you know, put the flowers close, not all the time, again, you know, everybody to their own. Usually when I do the arrangements like this, I ask the customer if that's how they'd like me to design it, where it looks like the flowers are hugging each other and it's like you're sending a hug from your own arms to your loved one. Some say yes, some say no, you know, it's everybody to their own. But on this one, I'm showing you that by placing them, but going down, but placing them very close to each other to represent closeness and hugs, you know, and love. That's how I make it look, you know. I can't really put it, I don't know how else to put it, but that's how I make it look like, you know, giving comfort and feeling towards somebody who's no longer around by expressing it like that in a flower arrangement. So I've got 4 of those. I'm placing one on the bow. I'm taking it off the stem if I can. And I'm just going to get my spatula and I'm going to place some glue around the bottom on the plastic bit, not on the petals. And that is sitting in there. And that also, then you have your 5. So you've got your 5 roses, and so you've got your 5 dahlias. So there's all your oddments. Well, not oddments, sorry, that's the wrong word. Your odd numbers. So we don't need those. Now let's see about these. Again, this adds a subtle Christmas touch to a funeral graveside, just by adding little bits of heather in. You can have them, you know, I will place one in here also, a bit further down, but you know, that's where it'll go. And then I'm just going to place a couple at the front also. So let's take this plastic bit off of the bottom. So then for that, I'm going near the front. I think I do. Here, that's right. And just having that sticking a bit further out than the rose so you can't see it. So I'm taking the plastic off of the bottom. It's got a double layer of plastic. Let me just turn it around, everybody. I love doing things like this. I can't state it enough. Don't get me wrong, I love my job. I started out with funerals and, you know, things like that. But I absolutely adore funeral flowers. I don't know, I think I've probably said it before. It's where you can express all your love and devotion, you know, to somebody who's no longer around, unfortunately, at the sad times. I'm going to place a few at the back. You may not see them, but again, we need to fill in the back as well. So if anybody does decide to look around the back, they just don't want to see it just bare. I'm just manipulating this one. I don't want it immediately vertical. I want movement in it, but soft movement. I'm not giving it a sharp you know, bend over. It needs to be soft and comforting to the eye. Again, go behind the bow, in front of the rose, but just slightly lower, so it's just popping through. And the other two. Here. Again, just popping up. I may cut that a little bit because that's, I think, a bit too in the way. So I'm just going to take about an inch off the ribbon. It's better. And a little bit off of here. And you can do this throughout, you know, if you notice that you think the ribbon's in the way, just trim it. Oops, a daisy. So it shortens it on the top, so it's like that. Oh, I can hear my cat. Come on then. And again, place one behind here. So then that's how you have those. Now, no, I'm not putting those in either, guys. So we don't need no more of those. Now let me just see with the calla lilies. Again, I don't want it to look too much. It needs to be subtle. Placing it there because I want movement as well. I don't just want the compact feeling. No, I can't make my mind up. I'm not in doubt, I just can't make my mind up. They look nice with them or without them. Again, no, take them out. And the reason I'm taking them out is as soon as I'll show you, as soon as I'm placing them in. Now you can look at that theme like that and it looks Christmassy. By just immediately adding those, it starts bringing in, it's lovely movement, it looks wonderful. But then I start looking at it like it's starting to bring in, I don't know, a bit too much happiness, I guess. Even though people represent these with, you know, sad times, I don't think it goes with the theme, more to the point. I want to keep within. So I'm not, no, you know, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have put them in. I would, but I take again into consideration the theme that I've produced and the layout. I don't want it to look like I'm making a bouquet of, so to speak. You know, again, no disrespect. I just want it to look, give that Christmas theme, but softness and, you know, not too going extravagant like I can, you know, and go really wispy and things. I want to keep within the soft theme, so I won't be using those. Oh, I've left one out, look. I was always taught, you know, just things like that when I started out in funeral work. I was always taught to take in you know, feelings, love, passing of people, you know, things like that. You know, certain ways I was taught to produce funeral flowers without it looking like it's a party theme, basically. That may be the wrong word, but you know, if that makes sense. You need to be making it like it's showing love, but you know, and happiness as well as sadness. Happiness that you've made something for them in your flowers, for your flowers to speak love, there's the happiness. But also in sad times, you've got to blend both together. So by putting wacky things in, you know, or like the eerie colour lilies, it's starting to look too much like a bouquet of an everyday bouquet, and that's the feeling I'm staying clear away from. So, and again, we've got some of our berries again to add to the Christmas. And I don't want to overload it with the berries. As much as it's a Christmas theme, I want to try and keep the word in and just add the odd one. I mean, the berries would look nicer on the green ribbon, just in front, I guess. Let me just turn it. I want the berry there for definite. Yeah, that's where they're being placed. I'm placing the berries, 2 on the white and green, well 1 each on the white and green leaves. And then 1 in the centre under the big main rows. So as you can see here, here and here. So then again, just by using 3, I have that triangular position, and now it's balanced with the berries. So let's get these in. Again, I think I'm going to have to elongate that one. So glue it in. Again, we don't want it popping out in the strong winds. So this one also will sit in the centre, just below the rose. And if you're waiting, oops, a daisy. Again, I'm taking my time, guys, because I want to do it at a slow pace and try as well at the same time to explain the placing and why I'm placing them there, and also why I wouldn't place something there as well. Again, if I wasn't doing it on a video, this would be done, but I love to show people things, and I like to take my time. I don't like to rush, because again, I've been in the situation where I've been taught some certain things and they've rushed through it, and I couldn't even remember what they said, and my mind went blank. So, and then you find then, therefore you're having to ask again. Sometimes you tend to feel silly having to ask again, you know. It's just a natural feeling. It's just a natural way people think, you know, oh gosh, I've missed that, I didn't ask again. You know, some people they've got the confidence to just get up and ask again. But there's not everybody is, you know, is as confident as each other. And that, you know, so I take that into consideration. Not drastically, sorry, that's the wrong word. I do take it into consideration that people's learning abilities are different to others. Right, I'm getting the cinnamon sticks. I'm making a U-bend at the top of, I don't know if you can see, of my floral wire. Because it's got 2 little holes in this cinnamon stick, So I'm putting one through one and one through another, pulling it down, and then I'm going to glue that at the top. So that, again, for extra strength and security from the weathers, will hold in. And I'm just going to wipe over the top with the glue. Wipe any bits off that look like they're coming over the side. So you don't want to see that. And then there you have your cinnamon stick. Because sometimes if you put in a cinnamon stick, and I'll show you, without gluing it, you know, basically for the security, especially if you're doing wreaths outside. If I just move this, I'll show you what can happen, especially if it's being positioned upside down and you've not glued it. Now you've got that there, I'm holding it, and if there's strong winds, look at what's happening, it's falling. They come off really easy. And especially if they're on a reef and they're on the hanging below, that's what could happen. And you don't, the customer doesn't want to see the wire like that, because that looks unprofessional and unfinished. So I secure it in place, and I put glue on the top, so then when it is hanging upside down, it's not going to, the floral wire isn't going to move out. Oh, that was a bit silly. I was just about to dip the floral wire in, and I don't make a small U bend. I do it quite big, so the other side goes at least halfway down. Again, I do it for peace of mind, and also to know that it's in and it's secure. Just little tips like that, you know, help tremendously, and help also from you getting any negative feedback from any customers or family members, because they are very critical. They critique a lot. I've had it, you know, my sister-in-law, she's very fussy how I do her, like the one with the elf's legs. She was very fussy. She loved it to bits. She was definitely having it, but there was something missing, you know. And then also, she did say to me, well, can you take that out? I don't like that in, and put me black in instead, a black fern instead of a green one, you know. Then you know that, but that's her choice. But family members are not afraid to say what they think, more than anybody. So I don't give them the chance. As much as I love my family members, I just don't give them that chance to speak out, because sometimes it can knock your confidence. You know, if a family member says something and you're in your mind, you think it's great, you know, you think you've done a wonderful job, which you would have done, you know, no doubt about it. But again, I prevent any family member from even saying that. I mean, I know my sister-in-law does, but we're very similar, me and her, and we get on really well. We understand each other, and I know her needs, and you know, because I didn't make it for my sister-in-law. That's the thing. Now, if I made it for my sister-in-law, then I would have added the black. But I didn't. So when she saw it and she wanted it, then I knew immediately there'd be changes. There always is, because I'd never make anything for her unless she orders it specifically, you know, on my videos. So and that's how, you know, why I've changed it, because once she wanted it, I just knew. Okay, I'm just placing, offset it slightly, because again we still need to see the words. So I put the cinnamon stick in, one here, and one at the bottom. Again, I haven't done them immaculately like a triangle like that. I've moved the triangle to a different position. I've turned it. So here is the flat bottom of the triangle, and there's your point here. So again, I've repositioned the triangle. I've turned it over on its side, and that is still balanced by doing that. Now I want to put a pine cone here for definitely, you know, also, oops a daisy, also to set off that Christmas look. And I'm going to add on the picks on these. That's the reason I've got out 3 of my picks, and I'm using brown corsage tape because it's a brown woody effect. So I'm going to attach, even though I've got the wire on, you know, threaded already that on, I'm going to start and attach the corsage tape right to the top, or as near to the top as I can get it, and then go down. And this is to give it extra strength because the wire, the floral wire, what I've got used on these isn't very strong for something weighty. So I'm giving it the strength. And again, you know, take things like that into consideration. The weather, it's the weather that you must think about. What if, just say to yourselves, what if we had a hurricane or a downpour, really strong winds, would that wire, you know, hold that heavy weight? And you'll know it if it will or won't, because immediately I've got it in and it's floppy. Look, a bit of movement from the wind and it's going to move it out of position as well. So also, again, to prevent that, I give it a helping hand by sticking some heavier picks on. What I use, what are much stronger. What's that? Bit of paper. I want to use the bigger one at the front, and I'm just bending it, even though the wire ended like that, I'm bending that down because then I can sit it like that alongside the cinnamon stick. So if I just lift up again, I don't want to cover the wording, so keeping it bit of the green there. So that is that one placed in. Now again, I'm going where the cinnamon sticks are. I'm joining them up together. And again, one there. So then you have your triangle again. So if I just turn it around, let's place this one in. Move my bow slightly out of the way. There we go. There we have it. So that, guys, is for the special lady who's asked me to do one, you know, if I've done one. She hasn't asked me to do one. I told her I'd do one. So sorry, that was wrong. And again, that's just to show you, you know, how you can make a Christmas graveside, as we call, graveside vase for the loved ones that are no longer around. And, you know, and just to show that you're still thinking about them, even at Christmas time, you know, in jolly times, you've still got the, you know, them on your mind, which I think is a beautiful thought, very caring. So I'm not going to put anything else in. Oh, sorry, one thing I've forgotten. Let me, I've forgotten to carry on finishing the back. So I want to just get some, I think, let's get some ruscus. I've got little ornaments here. So I'm going to place some ruscus at the bottom, at the back, sorry. Just little bits. Now these are push-ups, so these are brilliant to place at the back, and I'm pushing them up to the top so they're in a cluster, and the cluster is going to be a bit more full here, so it covers more than if I had it, if I got a shorter one. I'll show you if I did it in a different way. If I had it how they come, like that, you're not filling the back, you're just filling the height basically. So to keep it at the bottom, like I've done with that, I've pushed them up to the top. So then you've got your cluster, and you can move these around, so you know they're covering all around it. And by placing that there, you're covering this here. So let's get those in. I nearly forgotten. Silly. If I didn't do it on video, I would have noticed. I would have noticed after. And I'm pushing those right down. So as you can see, like that. So again, let's get these put up into a cluster. And even if it's just this on this one particular foliage, you know, instead of different ones, that's fine, as long as it's covering the back and filling it in. You don't have to go and be using 2-3 different types of foliage. You can just stick these in as well, and that will also give off a lovely little feeling. And I'm pushing these right to the bottom. Just bring these up. So I'm putting 3 in because 3 is plenty. In fact, no, I'm going to place another one, guys. You can just see a bit of a gap there. That one's filled up or full, and I can just see a slight gap there. So again, I'm going to do the same. Just here. Okay. So I filled in at the back as well. So then we'll take that out and I'll bring it closer, because again you can still see your wording, you know, your memorable wording at the bottom. So I've done it as a front facing, which means all your flowers are at the front, not anything at the back. Going into a triangular position and keeping that in mind for placement as well for your things. I've kept the flowers close by each other, even though I do like spacing. But again, as I've explained on this occasion, I position the flowers close together to give that love hug, you know, sensation, and that you're together. You know, you're still together no matter what. Even if you're not here in person, you're here in spirit, and the flowers represent, you know, are giving that feeling of that you're together. So the flowers are placed together. And then I put beautiful soft velvet, you know, bows in the green and the red, and just one with, it's got a bit of if I can see it, checked pattern on it, you know, just to give off that little Christmas theme without going too jazzy, so to speak. And then a few of the cones for the woody feeling, the earthy feeling as well, and then the conifers and your pines and heather again for the lower earthy feeling, and your cinnamon sticks to give off that earthy feeling as well. So that, my darling friend, is what I would do for a gentleman. Perhaps not in them colours, some people have their own preference, but in red, for the representing this for purpose of Christmas time, for your coffin bars to put aside, coffin bars, so sorry, for your graveside bars to put aside at Christmas time, to just let your deceased and your loved ones know that you've still got them in your thoughts and your heart. So that, guys, is how to make Christmas graveside bars, again for loved ones. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know it's a little bit different, but it has to be done. There's things like this in the world that go off, and there's people out there who are prepared to show it, and you know, help people like yourselves, because it is nature. It is a thing that happens, and nobody can take that away. So I show that in my flowers, you know, for the customers, friends, family, you know, in my arrangements. So I hope, you know, again, it's still a jolly thing, you know. It's, you know, it's all, people may look at it like it's a sad time, and after I've been doing again like all the Christmassy jolly things, this is a jolly thing. Don't ever feel that because it's for a funeral it's not jolly, it's not happy. You know, the happiness is in the flowers. So there's the happiness. So don't ever feel sad. Enjoy, because they are beautiful things to do. So again, I hope you enjoyed that. Something different again. And if you have a loved one, you know, you want to do something like this and take it to their graveside for Christmas, just to say, you know, you're thinking about them, do it, guys. Do it, because they're so easy to do, they're beautiful things to do, and it's, you know, it's touching, you know, the thought, you start to think about the people who are no longer around, you know, happy times, think of the happy times, what you had, and there's the happiness in the arrangement for a funeral. So again, I hope you enjoyed that, and sorry if it's been too long a video for such a small thing, but nothing's too small for me, whether it be tiny, you know, my time, you know, is your time. I will give all my time out for everybody, you know, to help in any way I can. So again, take care everybody. Please subscribe, share and like, and send us a little comment on what you thought. And if you've again done something like this, send us a picture. I'd be really honoured to have a look. I really would. So I'm going to now go and get a cup of coffee before I carry on with my work. A lovely day's work again. So again, sorry about the heater, but I am cold. So take care everybody and stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.